Welcome
Welcome
to the third episode of Between Rounds.
Is it the third already?
Third already.
My goodness.
Everyone's favourite, completely unorganised... Disorganised? Disorganised, ambiguously lengthy podcast.
Wow, that was a good intro.
I nailed it, alright? That's our style here.
That was beautiful. You couldn't write this stuff, folks. You
That's
probably
true.
could, it would probably be better.
This is now available both on our YouTube channel or on MTG Cast, which means you can get it on iTunes by looking for it.
Yeah, it's a
Theoretically.
little bit tough to find, I found.
We're part of the big MTG
Yeah, if you go
Cast
to the
feed.
MTG Cast feed, that's like active podcasts, we come up in there.
You can search for Between Rounds, and you should technically be able to find it that way.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Go on iTunes and have a look around.
you'll figure it out. You can also listen to it on mtgcast.com
Or on YouTube.
or on YouTube. So I'm Dennis,
I'm Oisin.
and what happened in the wizarding world of Magic the Gathering this week?
Tempest Remasters dropped, didn't it?
Tempest Remastered dropped actually 2 weeks ago because you weren't here last week.
I wasn't here last week. I've been doing exams.
You slacker. I have exams too. Is that an excuse?
It is an excuse.
I did a Tempest Remastered draft. I don't like it.
Really?
I did a couple of drafts. I don't like it. I
never played any of Tempest Block.
I played 2 drafts of Tempest Block when it was a flashback one time, I think.
Okay.
It's not fun.
No.
I think
was it made as a vehicle to reprint Wastelands or
No, it's a reasonably well balanced format and everything. It's fine. I just don't. Magic's changed a lot since that time, and I think it's almost universally accepted that it's for the better.
Okay.
Now with Tempest Remastered, they took all of Tempest Block and condensed it down to one set to try and refine that limited experience a little bit more. But a lot of the cards are sort of unintuitive and not very good, and it just doesn't feel like a cohesive kind of format. Like there's like a shadow deck and stuff, but I didn't enjoy playing it.
Okay.
So I personally wouldn't recommend it. I don't know how people feel about it or if they like it or not. But with Modern Masters just around the corner, tough it out.
Modern Masters 2 is looking like a cool draft format.
Yeah.
A little bit disappointing from the reprinting cards needed in modern side of things.
As per usual.
Yeah. But, you know.
I think it's much less... Modern Masters 2 looks much less archetypal.
Yeah, in Modern Masters... The original Modern Masters, it was just pick a deck.
It was... And every 2-color pair had like a nice... cohesive archetype that you could draft and was very clear.
There are still archetypes in Modern Masters 2. They're just not as strong. Like not that they're not as strong.
They're not powerful. You mean not as clear?
Yeah, you don't have to. If you draft, in old Modern Masters, if you were drafting, what was it, green white, you're drafting saplings, or if you were drafting ballads, and if you were drafting, what was the other one? Blue
black fairies.
Yeah, if you were drafting
red or white. Blue artifacts, affinity.
So there's still that happening in Modern Masters 2, but not as clear cut.
Yeah, there's an artifact deck there. There's an elementals deck, which is not going to be good, I don't think. Wasn't that also in the first one?
Was elemental? No, elementals. What was red blue in the first one?
Storm.
It was Storm. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm excited. It drops next week, and I think it drops early on Magic Online as well, so people have time to practice for the GP.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. We're probably going to be drafting it here.
On the channel?
At least once or twice.
Yeah, it's pricey enough is the issue.
It's pretty pricey. If you win, though, I made a lot of money drafting Modern Masters 1.
Because you get rares out of it.
Because it was over the course of 2 days. I won 3 8-4s in a row, and I opened 2 Vendidian clicks.
That'll do it.
So I had like 200 tickets or something in that range. It was pretty sick. So if we could just do that again...
Let's go with that. Yeah.
That'd be great. I don't know what the pricing is going to end up being on Magic Online.
I think they tend to stick to MSRP,
which is what, $10 a pack?
It's less than that, isn't it?
I don't think it is. $8 a pack? I don't know. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Big change as well, which isn't going to affect me because I never play paper. Is they have the new packaging from?
It's recyclable. Yeah,
it's cardboard.
I don't know if that's going to last through to further sets. I thought they were trialing it in Modern Masters 2.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I think that's the new de facto method going forward.
Really?
I feel like I read that. Doesn't make the noise. It makes when you get like those cardboard tabs.
Yeah, no, they're fun. They are fun to tear.
The little rip. It doesn't have the smell. Doesn't seal in the smell.
That's going to be a problem for me.
Is it actually? Are you serious?
I'm going to quit Magic.
Okay, well,
and just start sniffing glue instead because it's pretty much the same experience.
It's pretty much the same deal. Yeah. So I don't think that's a big change. It, like I said, doesn't affect me literally at all.
Yeah, because I don't think you've opened a pack in 2 years.
I don't think so. No. The other big thing that people have been talking about, well, there's been 2 big things of very, very different tones that happened to the Magic community over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, we've had our highs and lows.
So we'll talk about them in chronological order.
Okay.
So the first one...
So we're getting the bad news
Getting
first.
the bad news first.
This is when we were kind of nervous to actually bring up on the show because...
Yeah, I might cut this.
Yeah.
So I suppose if you're hearing this, I didn't cut it.
Yeah, but we do want to preface this by saying that we are not experts on this.
No.
And that we're not trying to offend anyone. We're just interested in talking about what people have been talking about.
Okay.
Giving our spin on it. If we do upset you in any way, please try and remember that we're quite stupid. And we probably don't mean it maliciously, we're just morons.
We're not we're dancing around the issue a bit. In the GP 2 weeks ago. It was in the GP, wasn't it?
Yes.
I'm pretty certain it was in
Toronto?
Anyway, a player was featured who shall remain nameless, but if you Google this, you'll find him pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Who is, I believe, a registered sex offender?
He's on the list. Yeah.
For aggravated sexual battery, I believe, was things of the charge, which is something that he committed a decent amount of time ago.
A long time ago.
And served a sentence for, and in the eyes of the law is absolved. You could
still on a register.
But you are for anyway.
Yeah.
But people were upset that he was featured playing Magic the Gathering on stream.
Yes.
Because that's I don't really understand why.
So there's a few different sides of the issue, right? And what's been a little bit frustrating to me is the people who are complaining about this have been complaining about different things in the same umbrella and sort of conflicting things.
Okay.
So there's been a lot of talk about how he shouldn't be allowed to be featured in a feature match.
Okay.
Because, I don't know, maybe there's something about, people being on feature matches being some sort of role model. Again,
I don't know about that.
The other one is it was the fact that it wasn't announced.
It wasn't made public
that he was on this register.
It came out, quote unquote, on Twitter after the fact.
But I mean, people were talking about how if they were to be playing against someone and they would feel unsafe. Now, that seems weirdly like an argument for not publicising it.
You live in blissful ignorance kind of thing. Yeah. Is that... This is going to sound insensitive. Is that person's problem? The person who will be feeling unsafe?
I mean, like... The question there is, if that's the issue you have, if you feel unsafe playing against...
Someone like that?
Someone with that kind of background, then surely the feature match isn't the issue, it's the fact that he's allowed to play in the tournament.
Right.
So why were people freaking out about him being given a feature match if that's their concern?
And then the other semi-argument is that by putting him in a feature match, you're sort of condoning it?
But you're not.
That seems like a reach to me.
It's entirely irrelevant. I hate to bring this up to besmirch his good name because I love the guy, but Patrick Chapin did have a history with he had run-ins with the law. Of a different sort. But again, if you're going with the condoning argument, then letting Patrick Chapin play on the Pro Tour, is he in the Hall of Fame?
I think he is. He won the Pro Tour.
I feel like he's in the Hall of Fame. But anyway, like that, they're not condoning his past actions. They're saying he's moved on as a person.
So that's to do with people would argue then that that's to do with the nature of the crime. But
I don't think Wizards as a company would want to condone any sort of...
I don't think Wizards has made any statement about this, by the way.
They haven't.
Off the top of my head.
Because I think they're taking exactly the right approach, which is...
ignoring it?
Yeah. I don't think it's relevant.
I don't think it matters to him playing Magic the Gathering. I'm not condoning what he did.
No, absolutely not.
I'm not saying that isn't a horrible thing to do. All that stuff stands. But in terms of him sitting down to play a game of Magic the Gathering, I don't see how that's related.
No.
That's my own personal opinion, and I'm aware that might be an unpopular opinion. Our match has started. Our round has started.
Man.
Do you know what we'll do?
We'll do this. We'll pause
the recording and we'll continue
the next two rounds. Yeah,
okay, that's fine. We hadn't foreseen this happening.
This has never happened before.
Okay, let's pause the recording.
We're back.
We're back.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, we didn't do so good.
No. But yeah, who listens to the podcast who doesn't watch the videos?
That's true. So what was the other thing we want to talk about was, on a lighter note, Tolarian Community College.
So this was the good thing that happened.
The good thing that happened. I'm going to look up what his numbers are at the moment. But Tolarian Community College,
professor, a man named the Professor, which is his real full name.
Yeah, first name Thaddeus Hector Professor, has decided to attempt to make Magic videos full time, or closer to full time, because he was unable to keep up making
two
content,
jobs and
his content.
Yeah.
So he set up a Patreon, which at time of recording, he originally said if he could reach about $880 a month, he would quit one of his jobs and start making videos in place. He is currently at $5,707 per month.
So he hit his numbers.
$5,707 per month, which is, just for reference, about 68,000 United States dollars a year.
I like that you said United States dollar.
Patreon takes some of that,
and then there's tax.
Credit cards takes, and they pays tax and stuff. But it's not a small chunk of change.
No.
So great congratulations to him.
Absolutely, it's a lovely story.
Why can't we get on that gravy train, Oisin? Why aren't you a lovable English professor?
We're just two idiots who play Magic.
That's true.
We people already give us a ludicrous amount of money to play Magic.
Okay,
which we would be doing anyway.
You sound big-headed. Please head over to our Patreon and see the actual amount of money.
Yeah, no, I think any money over no dollars and no cents is ludicrous.
That's fair. I don't appreciate that. But when we just mentioned that he made $5,500 a month, in theory, those are all prospective numbers. He hasn't actually received a penny yet.
Sure.
But you then saying we make ludicrous amounts of money makes it sound like we make...
We make like $110 a month
yeah.
between two of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please go support us on Patreon. But anyway...
or not. The whole point is, like...
It's great. That's a beautiful thing.
The reason we put it up there... I was very reluctant to make a Patreon account.
That's true. I had to talk you into it.
You had to really talk me into it. And it was just because people kept asking us, hey, how can we help? Can we give you money? This kind of stuff. And it was awkward having to go, well, you can send it to my PayPal, or you can write a check, or you can take all your pennies and put them in a wheelbarrow and leave them on the hillside and we'll go and collect them.
You pick up a few blades of grass and let it into an easterly wind.
Exactly. And a pigeon flies down to my shoulder with a note stapled to it.
Staple.
Jesus,
it's grim.
Well, these are the kind of people who leave wheelbarrows full of pennies on the hillside.
That's fair. So we want people to give people a structured avenue to do that.
Yeah.
And you did, and that's great, and thank you, and we're grateful for every penny. It is way more than any penny we ever thought we'd ever make doing this.
Yeah.
So that's fine. If you do want to support us, that'd be nice.
It's also fine, yeah.
But in terms of the professor, who makes much better videos than we do...
with more production value.
More effort.
Definitely more effort.
He has managed to set up a situation where he can do what he really loves for a living.
Time.
Which is great.
Very impressive.
And that's what I'm envious of. I'm not envious of his raw monetary...
No, he gets to do this all the time as his job.
Yeah, which is great, and that's excellent for him.
And it's going to be excellent for us as well, because he's going to be putting out lots more cool content.
That's true, and if you haven't already, although I doubt anyone hasn't heard about this, head on over to patreon.com/Tolarian Community College.
Or just subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Also,
he does make fun stuff.
And that's great, and that's a great indicator of... Bernie Burns from Rooster Teeth has a great talk about the power of a small audience, and while he has tens of thousands of subscribers...
60,000?
Just shy of 60, I think, something like that. Comparing that to even Rooster Teeth or PewDiePie or Markiplier or whatever, it's orders of magnitude smaller.
Yeah.
But the power of a dedicated, small captive audience...
Well, captive is the wrong phrase, but dedicated I like.
I think captive is appropriate.
A captive audience makes it sound like they're not allowed stuff.
No, you don't. Okay, well, a dedicated audience. The power of a dedicated small group of people is that they can fund this guy a pretty solid salary to do what he loves, which is a great, great thing. He'll be making more, assuming all these numbers work out, he'll be making significantly more doing this than he did at his old job.
Yeah.
Because he said in the video how much he made in his old job, which he was very embarrassed about. Not because it was small, but because it's a personal thing to share.
And you have to... And he did put himself out there. Like, you gotta say for the guy, he... You
can see in the video and on the stream, he's very emotional about it, and he was very nervous about posting it. I think he had similar apprehensions to the ones that you did.
I just didn't want people to think I was like, hey, give us some money for no real reason.
Well, I am like, please say give us some money for no real reason. That's fine. If you don't want the Patreon money, you just let me know. That's fine. But no, you're right. We'd be doing this if we never Patreon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas he couldn't.
No.
Which is fine.
We don't have full-time jobs.
Also, our videos take much less time than his do.
Yeah, I come around at some stage on a weekend.
Some weekends.
And we sit down for 3 hours at the outside.
And then Dennis does everything else.
And then Dennis does all the editing. Yeah.
That's fine. So I'm just glad for him that that's something that the Magic community is capable of doing. And Draft Magic are in the process of trying to do the same thing with less success at time of recording, but that's
that's the thing.
Maybe that'll change. They, interestingly enough, this is a fun little story for you. Draft Magic used to be a big website.
It was never huge.
It was big enough.
It was reasonably sized.
Yeah. It's bigger than we are.
Fair. We have a website.
That's true. We talked about that. We didn't buy it. Please don't put WindmillSlam.com. I really want that. WindmillSlam MTG, actually. WindmillSlam.com is taken by some insurance company or something stupid.
Really?
Yeah, people buy domains. Anyway, we approached them asking if they wanted to host our videos. And they said yes. And I was like, awesome. This is before we were on MTG Academy.
Yeah.
And then Vito, the guy who runs Draft Magic, never replied to my emails. Stopped replying to my emails. And then I now know that was because his website went defunct because they ran out of money, essentially. And MTG Academy picked us up shortly after. But, what could have been? You know? That's a fun story. Giving me a skeptical look.
I was there.
You were there, that's true. I think it's just interesting. So I wish them all the best. I hope they have great success. You can head over to patreon.com/draftmagic.
We were just going to plug things today. Things that aren't us.
If you could just scroll down the Patreon homepage and just give money to everybody.
Everybody who plays Magic.
Or just anything. Does a webcomic. That's probably what most of the Patreon is, right?
I have no idea. I don't use it.
But yeah, if you would like to support us or any of the aforementioned parties, you can do that on Patreon.
The thing is...
Do you think Patreon's a vehicle for good in the YouTube community?
I think Patreon's a great thing. I think
it's all the rage now in Magic. Limited Resources have one, Load Ready Run have one, we have one.
The thing is, so much of the content that people watch these days is free. Or people, articles and, some of the Star City articles you pay for, but, a lot of articles, a lot of news, people don't buy newspapers anymore. It's all online. People don't, a lot of people don't... rent movies or go. I haven't gone to the cinema in a very long time because you can either watch something on Netflix if you just kind of feel like watching something,
or Yar.
What's a pirate's favorite letter of the alphabet, by the way, Dennis?
R.
You'd think so, but we first love be the C.
That's amazing.
But yeah, you can.
I'm gonna need a minute. Go on without me.
Yeah, you can. So much of the stuff you can do, so much entertainment now is free.
But the caveat there used to be that you could pay for it with advertising.
Yeah, and now that's less true.
People use a software or some variation of a software known
AdBlock.
We can't say AdBlock. I think that's against YouTube Terms of Service.
Is this on YouTube?
Probably.
Are we allowed to say? We're not allowed to say AdBlock.
Ixnay on the block adnet. You definitely can't.
We're not allowed to say.
You definitely can't say AdBlock. People use AdBlock, and some people do courteously turn off their AdBlock when they watch our videos.
Yeah.
But even with that, for channels of our size, we make no money. The professor, for even a channel of his size, makes peanuts.
Yeah,
that's the reason for Patreon. It's an opportunity for you to give money to creators. Yeah, if you want to.
Someone on YouTube, I don't remember who it was, made the Magic Mars bars argument, which is that if you go into a shop and you steal a Mars bar.
This is about piracy, though.
Yeah, but it's a similar concept. If you go into a shop and you steal a Mars bar, that shopkeeper's down a Mars bar. If you go into the same shop and steal a Mars bar and another Mars bar magically reappears in its place, it's sort of a victimless crime because the shopkeeper's not down a Mars bar and you're up a Mars bar. But if everyone does that, people who make Mars bars aren't going to be able to continue making Mars bars.
The counter argument there is that you might have bought a Mars bar. If you didn't pirate Age of Ultron, you might have bought a ticket to go see it. I know that's not the case with a lot of people who pirate video games, movies, and stuff. Yeah,
because you can't. I'm a poor student. If I want to play a video game, I'm probably going to pirate it because I just don't have the money. And when I'm a functioning member of society who's earning his own living, then I can do my bit.
So you heard it here, kids. If you want Oisin to stop stealing from content creators, head over to patreon.com/windmillslam.
But no, I think Patreon's an excellent thing. I think it's a great vehicle, and I think it allows... It seems like... I'm going to go bigger picture here for a moment. It seems like the world is moving a lot more towards small content producers for very specific audiences.
Okay.
And I think that's probably a very cool thing.
Okay.
And Patreon's really helping with that.
I like Patreon. I think it's a force for good. You might be starting to do something very interesting in the near future.
It's not that interesting. It's not original. It's not. It's just I've been playing a whole bunch of Hearthstone recently, largely because I've been trying to avoid study. But I've just put together my first semi-competitive deck. I've been getting into the game quite a bit. I've been playing a lot of Arena, and I might throw a video or two on the channel.
If you guys would like to see that, or if you'd like us to make a separate channel, which
just seems like a lot of work.
I wouldn't. Well, it's not a lot of work. It'll divide the audience. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So if you guys really don't, let us know in the comments. Do you want if we were to make Hearthstone content, would you want it to be here, or would you really, really hate that?
Yeah. The thing is, I don't. The reason to make a second channel would be people would be furious that Hearthstone content was showing up on Windmill Slam MTG.
Yeah.
We'd have to call it Windmill Slam HS or something else. But I think people aren't going to care. I think if people don't want to watch Hearthstone content, then it's not going to replace our regular scheduled programming.
No,
it's going to go up when I feel like doing it.
Yeah, I mean, this could also all never happen.
Yeah.
But I tried time and time again to get into Hearthstone. And I play it, and I'm like, this is great, I'm going to play this all the time, and then 2 days later, I'm like, well, I don't want to play this anymore, because it's boring.
I've just been playing a ton. The other thing is, as well, the only reservation I have about doing this, because it's little to no effort for me, I'd be playing anyway.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how this YouTube channel started.
Yeah.
Look where we are now, we're recording a podcast.
So, but the thing is, there's a lot of Hearthstone content out there, and I'm by no means the best Hearthstone player. I've started playing very recently. I'm ranked like 13, 12, I don't know, and I tend to hover somewhere around there.
What you should do is, when the new season starts, attempt to get to 1.
Or to Legend.
Or to, whatever, I don't know. Is 1 the best? Is it like
no,
golf?
It's 25 to 1, and then beyond 1 is Legend.
Sure.
Yeah.
Try to attempt to get to John Legend by the end of the month, and record literally every single game on the way. Well,
that sounds miserable.
Well, they're very short.
They can be. They can be about as long as this podcast. Like.
Yeah.
But I would definitely record an arena run and put it up.
That's not bad. You can record that in one video.
Yeah, exactly. Well, an arena run can take a while. Depends on how well I do.
Sure.
That's the nice thing about
you
it.
You upload a 8-minute arena
but
video.
The other thing I can do is compared to sitting down and recording a draft video. Like if we want to sit down and record a draft, that's taking us minimum 3 hours. Mm-hmm. If I want to sit down,
the large majority of which is spent sitting around recording a
podcast
now.
But if I want to record an arena game, I can record a video of me building the deck and then playing a couple games, and then go do something else for 2 days, and then come back and finish the arena.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can look forward to that. Let us know if that's something you'd be interested in. Mm-hmm. And speaking of letting us know, we have our ending segment.
Oh, Dennis, you and your segues.
In response. So at the end of every episode, we take a question that you've posted in the comments. So if you have a question for us for next week, please post it down there, and we'll look at them all and everything. This one, I don't actually have here word for word.
Okay.
But the essence of the question was, what do we think of tiny leaders as a format? Do we think it's like a flash in the pan, a fad, or that's being pushed by store owners to push cards? Mm-hmm. Or do we think it has real staying power in the same way that, Commander did?
So, for those of you who aren't aware of what Tiny Leaders is...
That includes me, I don't really know what it is.
Okay, so Tiny Leaders is a singleton Eternal format with its own separate ban list.
Okay.
It plays similarly to Commander, except... So it follows, you pick a commander, it has to be a legendary creature, every card in your deck must share the colour identity of your commander. The colour identity thing's a bit weird, but anyway. And the only restriction is you build a 50 card deck, no card can have more than 3 CMC.
Okay.
So...
It's like slower and faster and kind of more aggressive, maybe?
Yeah, I mean... It's a nice idea. It kind of feels just like Singleton Legacy. Because you just pick a decent legendary creature. Vendilion Click's really popular, and so is Tazig. No, Tazig was Commander. But Vendilion Click or Woodwind or something along those lines. And you just build a Legacy deck in Singleton.
That sounds crap.
And
people like Highlander. That's basically what Highlander is, isn't it?
Yeah, and except everything has to cost less. 3 less.
Sure.
It's not really meant to be played in multiplayer as far as I'm aware.
Okay, I literally have no... All I knew was that it existed. There was something about 3 converted mana cost, and it was kind of a bit like Commander.
There was a rule, and there still is, because up until Cans of Tarkir, up until Fate Reforged, actually, there were some colour combinations that didn't have tiny leaders. So Alesha is the only one if you want to play Mardu.
Okay.
There's still none for Sultai.
Yep, okay.
But you can build a Sultai deck and play the Sultai Tiny Leader, which is a blank card that for all intents and purposes reads green, blue, black, legendary creature, 2/2.
Is that the thing that the people have invented?
Yeah.
It's cute, I like
that. Which is a nice idea.
I don't play it, I've never played it.
I don't have a deck.
It doesn't exist on Magic Online, so
no.
It doesn't affect me.
It does feel like it's sort of a vehicle to sell
cards
weird,
that people wouldn't want
cards,
otherwise. Yeah. Would you be interested in building one?
A Tiny Leaders deck? I mean, I don't love competitive Commander, like 1v1 Commander, as a thing. I think Commander just should be for big, stupid stuff.
So you think Time Invaders is just a more narrow competitive Commander field?
Yeah, and I wouldn't be terribly interested in it. I think if I was going to play something along those lines, I'd probably just play Legacy.
Okay. So to answer your question, I don't care, and Oisin doesn't seem overly interested.
I have picked up and played other people's Tiny Leaders decks and had fun, but it just... Yeah, I would almost rather play Legacy.
That's fair enough. If you have a different question, our theme next week is Game of Thrones. That's a reference that some people might get.
I didn't get it.
Good.
But yeah, if you have a question...
Preferably not about Game of Thrones.
Oh, we can talk about Game of Thrones. No spoilers, though.
Doesn't have to be Magic related. If you have any quantum physics questions...
They'll probably be directed at Dennis.
I can probably answer those slightly more efficient than you are. If you have any engineering questions...
Specifically electronics,
those are all Oisin. That's Oisin's wheelhouse.
If you also just want to know things about our lives, why you would, I have literally no idea.
Questions about Magic are obviously deferred to me. Literally anything. We can't promise we'll answer them all.
No, we will answer one every week. We might answer two if we feel like it.
But please let us know down in the comments. Again, we post draft videos on YouTube every week with youtube.com/WindmillMTG.
If you're listening to this on MTG Cast, hello.
Please head over and subscribe. Otherwise, you know all about us, presumably. Please support us on Patreon. Please support the...
Let's stop asking them for things.
Please support the wizard, the professor.
Just please do what you want to do with your life and just have fun.
Alright, Sergeant Liberal.
Yeah, like... I feel like we've wrapped up now, so it's weird to talk about this. I always feel really uncomfortable saying, please subscribe, please like the video, please head over to Patreon. Like, if you want to do that, we make it available to you, but do what you want with your time. Really.
We talked about this earlier, and this is a very, very behind-the-scenes thing.
Yeah.
Where you said that the reason we're doing this is not so that as many people as possible watch it, which is fair.
Yeah, we were having a discussion, a management team meeting.
A Windmill production meeting.
About whether or not to move away from the draft content and over to more sort of like big picture, sort of deck tech
kind of stuff.
Top X clickbait cards in Magic, right?
And Oisin made the point that we don't do this to get as many views or make as much money.
Because we don't make money off of this. This is a hobby.
I made the point that we wouldn't have been doing this for a year and a half if only 4 people were watching it.
Exactly. So there is a balance.
There is a balance. So while I'm more comfortable saying, please like and subscribe and check out our Patreon, you're much more like, guys, just fucking shut up. And that's fine. But those are fundamental differences in our personalities. So if you want to know about fundamental differences in our personalities, please leave questions for next week.
Yes.
This has been Between Rounds, the rambliest of them, I think, for sure.
We've kind of gone all over the place.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next